Hello, guys. Welcome to Gsmtv, our Friday program of diving deep into our experiences. Today, we're going to talk about. Hello, viewers. Welcome to Gsmtv. Today's program is it is emotional deep diving, and we're going to talk about how deep are you experiencing your experiences. So, and a lot of us become really scared because we don't want to be hurt. And I have been there so many times, and I'm sure you have been there too. So, what is it that we fear so much to experience or to feel or to just be part of something that is disturbing? We have a natural tendency to want to run away from what is uncomfortable, and then go into where there's comfort. So I came into this by asking myself, what do I have to lose if I can just feel my feelings, experience my experiences to the deepest level, and see how much the pain or whatever it is that I will experience, how deep can you go? And as I was experimenting with this, it actually worked out that healing began. We begin to heal ourselves. Sometimes it happens just out of the blue. You don't really plan. You cannot plan that. Oh, now I want to start healing. But the methods that we use to kind of try and maneuver to get into ourselves and dig out what is in there, whether it's our strength, whether it is our weakness, whatever it is, sometimes it just leads us into healing. And so, how do you experience your experiences? How do you experience your pain? How do you experience your joy? At what level are you so comfortable to a point where you just, you feel like you're in a very peaceful place? So, giving an example of myself, because most of the time we are always running and trying to avoid the worst things that can come to us and go where it's comfortable. But I realized life being like a gemstone and very precious, I think no matter how terrible life is or how painful a situation is or how sad, whatever it is okay to just sit there and feel everything that is needed to be felt. Because now that is actual living. That is what the life force in us is calling for. It's calling for us to live our life without fearing anything. And there are four ways of actually experiencing our feelings, our emotions, and our environment. The first phase, which is very superficial and basic, is at our material self. Material self is us plus our belongings, whatever we own and whatever has our name tag on it. That is yours, your car, your house, your children, your name, your body, anything that is material in you. That is the first phase of perception. Our perceptive skills on a physical level are not very deep. They may not be as informative, and they are not scary because because everything is verifiable. Everything is something you can see. If it's your body, you can see yourself. If it's your car, you can see it. If it's your house, you can see your house and all that. And this material self uses energy called automatic energy. The automatic energy is the things that we do all the time until it just sets themselves, we become like an autopilot where we just wake up and do the same things over and over again without even thinking about it. That just animates us because of our routine or because of the schedule or because of whatever is going on. And then the second phase after the material self is the reactional self. The reactional self is a part of us that chooses between good and bad. It is the like and the dislike. It has to be one thing or the other. So at that second level, we are going we are going deeper slowly by slowly. So when we get to, to the reactional self, we don't have the capability to understand where other people are coming from. But the only thing we know is about ourselves. It's about us at the reactional level. It's either we are defending ourselves from attack, or we are defending ourselves from a bad situation. So it is either you like it or you don't like it. That is the reactional self. And in that stage, it uses sensitive energy. Sensitive energy is what helps us, or is what leads us to distinguish between good and bad, to distinguish between warm and hot. At least, there are two different things, or polar opposites of one another. So if you cannot like something, and if you like something, you must hate something else. So that is how it goes. So it's up and down. It's positive and negative. Whatever you choose to like, then that means automatically the secondary choice there is not something of your liking. And this is from our sensitivity. Our sensitivity is how we feel or how we respond to our natural instincts, or to whatever is going on. For example, if I'm told somebody is very sick at home, the first thing is you become very, like, you become very scared. It's either you want to listen to the whole story at that time, or you run away from it. You're like, oh, I'm not ready for this right now, so I will deal with that later. That is the second, the reactional self that uses sensitive energy. And then as we go deeper, the third phase is the divided self. And in our divided self, it uses conscious energy. The divided self uses conscious energy. So when we have this divided self, we have to really be in a place where we are alive, awake, and conscious, in order for us to feel our emotions and direct them to the part of the body that are needed to be. For example, if we are mourning a dead relative or a sick person, or if something terrible has happened, we kind of tend to focus on that. And this involves a lot of emotions, a lot of pain most of the time, and a lot of confusion, because it is a place of more than two choices. You can choose as more than two. It's not like the reactional self where you have to choose this or the other. When we get down to the divided self, it's how you use your intuition, or how you perceive everything that is going on. And we always contrive strategies that avoid us losing our path. This, remember, you have to find a way of staying alive, or staying on course by yourself. So we really have to stay focused when we are trying to resolve issues at this level. And this is just, you don't have to have an external source influencing your feeling or your decision. It could just be your thinking. You're good enough just thinking. So that is the divided self. And a lot of people here who are very spiritual, or who are very deep thinkers, or who are very intuitive, they call it reflection sometimes, where you just sit there and wait for things to happen, wait for some answers to download themselves from some source. Because sometimes we think we know so much, but the truth is we don't. But when we listen to our intuition or to our inner voices, sometimes we are guided. Sometimes things do happen to us that we never even, we never knew existed. So that is the divided self, and it is not as deep as making very crucial decisions, but it is still on our way to the depth of our imagination, or of our feeling. And then the last step is the true self. A true self now is where you have evolved into an image of who you think you truly are. It is not who you want to be. Who you want to be doesn't exist at that time. But the true self, a true self is who you are. It is finding out who you truly are, but not who you want to be. Who you want to be is different. But a true self is you've already identified yourself with several things, and you relate to them based on how you perceive them. So the true self uses creative energy, and the creative energy is one of the richest and a more broader way of conflict resolution or seeking alternative solutions to very difficult problems. And when we are born, I think this is our status initially before we are influenced by social norms and society and rules and all the things that come with it. We are always very spontaneous. We are very real. We are alive. We don't, we have nothing to fear, because when we are kids, you just want to be a kid. You just want to enjoy your life. You don't want, even if you are restricted by your parents or by the environment, you don't take it seriously because you still feel like you own that freedom. You own that freedom. But this true self, or this center of your humanity, is where uh, our our deepest experiences are felt, because it is the deepest level of our consciousness. And the two energies here that meet is for either pain or sadness or whatever it is that you are going through. Most of the time, let's say, for example, let's take a feeling like grief. If you lose somebody in your family, for example, a mother, a father, somebody who's very close to you, when you sit down into this emotional roller coaster of feelings and just, feeling bad about how the situation has changed from bad to worse, or how people are no longer in your life anymore, but, you just want to build a life based on the memories that people left behind. And this is a very painful place to be, but it is not as scary. It can only be scary because we are so used to being certain, like knowing what is coming next. But sometimes you can surprise yourself by being in a situation where you don't know what's coming next. And not knowing creates a lot of curiosity. And depending on whether you're a positive person or a negative person, that curiosity can turn into fear, or it can turn into something positive, a strength or some energy that will just boost you up and help you resolve whatever issue is going on. This includes things like sickness, separation, anything that has to do with the matters of the heart, our emotions, and excuse me, and they are influenced by either family members, ourselves, the environment, and everyday life situation. So, in our true self uses creative energy. This creative energy is the most powerful energy, and it's for procreation. It is for recreating life the way God wanted us to do. We are co-creators in the universe. So if you have that deep imagination and your creative energy is healthy, you can do a lot of things. That's why sometimes you wonder when you see these athletes who are very determined to pursue a career or to pursue something. They have a drive that doesn't seem to be, to be normal. Sometimes you're like, which part of the world are they coming from? They have so much confidence, they have so much drive, they have so much energy. This is, I think, because they understand themselves better. When you understand how your system, how your body works, and how your emotions work, you can be able to handle situations in a more healthy way, because you know which emotions to engage and which maneuvers to take psychologically, so that you don't end up hurting yourself. And so to get to the point of true self, it needs a lot of reflection, a lot of meditation or prayer. Meditation is just like prayer. A lot of solitude, a lot of consult, sometimes a lot of reading, and a lot of time alone, and just trying to figure out what is the best way to handle your life. Our free will, our spirituality, and the discernment are on this level of true self. This is where all the qualities of strength are hidden. They are in the deepest part of our consciousness, because most of the time we live in a world where we hurry so much to do things and we just exist. But if you know your true self, if you have come to a place where you want to live your life and experience your life fully without living a lie, you tend to spend most of your thinking time, or most of your creative time in this state of your true self. Your true self is never lonely. Your true self is never demanding in a way that you want people to be around you all the time. You just feel very comfortable being alone. You are alone, but you're not alone. By this I mean you are alone, but you're enjoying your internal dialogues, your internal conversations, whatever is going on inside you, even if it is something that was negative. Sometimes it becomes a lesson. Most of us learn from it, and sometimes it just build our life experiences, because we are in this world to feel and experience life to the deepest level. There is no point of saying you're alive and all you want to do is just exist from one situation to the next, and suppressing feelings. I don't know what happens to us when we're children, because as we grow older, the fear in us is so intensified by the society, by the environment, and by previous experiences. And what we do naturally as human beings, we do like comparing ourselves unconsciously to other people's lives. A lot of us do that even without thinking, because you think like, oh, so I must be wrong because my friend or so and so did the opposite of what I want to do. It doesn't mean that you are wrong. What is wrong, what you think is wrong for you could be right for you, but it could be wrong for somebody else. We are all unique. We are all capable, and we are all, if we give ourselves time and cultivate enough attention to focus and to really know what is at hand, what needs to be taken care of, then a lot of things are not as scary. The reason why we become really scared is because we are naturally hedonistic. We naturally want to know. We want the future or the next step of our life to reveal itself to us, so that we can walk with confidence, knowing that you're not, But the moment there is darkness, the moment there is something that is not clear, the fear in us intensifies. It grows, and what happens is the fear of that fear becomes our worst enemy. It is not actually the problem that you have, because fear is a very terrifying emotion. It's a feeling. And when you continue feeding it by saying, oh my God, excuse me, what could be on the other side of the wall? I really want to know. But if for good experiences, sometimes it's just better to sit there and just say, whatever is coming, please, God or the universe, just guide me, because all I can do is just be present, show up, and then you see how these things go. But when you do have spontaneity in your life, where you're spontaneous in your responses, they just come because you've cultivated enough attention to know what is wrong and right, and to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. This is also a place where we can discern the spirit or the intuition, what is going on. We can easily tell that voice within us that doesn't mean well for us. We can usually, there is a way of experiencing the universe that is so intelligent and it's beyond us, and we don't even know. Most of the time, we don't know how we do it. But when you start enjoying enjoying your solitude, enjoying the silence, enjoying the serenity, and enjoying, walking in the park by yourself, picking up a flower, smelling the roses and smelling the mud at the same time, just being in that life, with everything that is beautiful and everything that human beings deem ugly. I do believe there's nothing ugly, because ugly is in our mind. We build that vocabulary based on language. But everything in life has its own beauty, no matter how physically it may look or how physically the world describes it as ugly. Ugly is not real, it's an illusion. So when we come to realize that, even when you, instead of you thinking other people are ugly, which is very, very wrong and very bad, you can be able to see the beauty in a human being, not from a physical body, but you are able to see the essence, the presence of that human being, the humanity that you share together, the pain that both of you share together, the path of life that has struggles and pain and uncertainty. A good example is where we are right now with, with the virus going around. Every single human being is uncertain and scared and don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. But we have to show up. We wake up in the morning, we say it's another day. When you find yourself going to bed at night, you don't have an infection, you have not gone to the hospital, your family, everything is just, we just keep showing up in life until that time comes when things change, or when whatever was destined to happen to us happens. So I think it is very, very important to be reflective and not to fear our experiences, because that is how we develop things like anxiety, depression, and all the other negative attributes that tend to crush our spirit, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We just have, not knowing something doesn't mean it is going to be bad or dangerous. Sometimes we may not know, but we do not know because it is hidden, and it will be revealed to us when that time comes. When the right time comes for that revelation, that is when we will be, in a space where we can be able to see what we are supposed to see and respond accordingly instead of reacting. We have left the reaction of self way behind on the second level of perception. That is because you only have two choices of liking and disliking. But in your true self, this is where all your positive attributes are put together to build a character and a strong personality that will either defend you, will either sit assertive in the world, and will be standing up and facing life as it comes. Because there's nothing we are not capable of doing as human beings. Everything that we need in our lives is inbuilt. It is within us. But we have a tendency to look outside for answers. We have a tendency to think that other people are smarter than us and they know better than us. So we don't have that confidence in ourselves. And when we lose that, we also lose everything that is in our true self. We lose the spontaneity of being present or being there on time. We lose the ability to discern between good and bad, to decide between a spirit that is building us and the spirit that is scaring us. We lose all those capabilities just because of not believing in ourselves. So it is really important. It is really important that we develop a strong relationship with ourselves, love yourself, and know that you are your best friend, and that the only person you ever need in times of consolation or crying or consultation, consult yourself first. Because a lot of people, even when people are asking questions, like you send them a question to a friend, most of the people know the answers. Most of us do have an answer, but we want reassurance, or we want to look at an alternative, or we want to see, how other people think and how they would, how other people respond. That's the reason why we want to go out there and see what other alternatives do exist. So how deep, how deep do you want to dive into your life? Do you want to live on an existential level where you just exist from one incident to another? Or do you want to live and experience life to its fullest, no matter how scary, no matter how painful, no matter how uncertain, no matter how, scary it is? You're just there and you say, you know what? I'm a human being, I was created, and I will show up. And you know what? When you show up, there's a strength that will show up with you that you are not even aware that you have. But you will recognize that strength when you're responding to something that will come up. You will not even be able to tell. You are like, what? Where did that come from? Sometimes those are the things that happen when you really cultivate believing in yourself. Believing in yourself and knowing that there is hope and that we are all in this together. We are sharing the pain of humanity, the joy of being human, and everything in between. All of us are in it together. It is not about other people have it better than you. I don't believe in such statement, because whatever you call better, what is that? If you have life, you have your health, you have you have the basic needs. You are the richest person because that's all you need. You really don't need to possess or to carry the whole world to show that you have all. It doesn't matter. It's all vanity. It is all vanity. So when you come to realize that the material things in our lives may play a very negative role in building our spirit, we will learn how to detach ourselves from materiality and build a relationship based on the spirit and based on what matters the most, love. Everything else is secondary. And it doesn't matter whether we don't like it or whatever is going on at that time, but you have to live your truth. And in this fourth stage, or in this fourth level of perception, where we have all these qualities of building ourselves and being strong for whatever we have to face, when you lose one of the abilities and you keep going down like that, the true self starts shrinking. You start losing the grip of the power, of the energy, of the capability, of the joy, of the connection that you are supposed to enjoy by connecting your soul to other very stronger souls in terms of sharing positive experiences and just going through life knowing that this is all there is. This is all there is. A lot of us live life saying that, oh, tomorrow after I graduate is when I'll start living my life, or blah, blah. The life you're living, this is it. It is one moment at a time. And if you are alive now and you're healthy, you're kicking, you've eaten your food, you have friends, and your body feels good, that is what matters. It is not what you have or what you own or what people think about you or what those things, you cannot control them. So when we go there, we are going to create anxiety for ourselves, and we are going to ruin our relationships, because what happens is everything bleeds into the next phase of anything. Like, for example, if I'm a very emotional person, and maybe something has happened and I'm not able to control my emotions, even if you understand yourself in a way that your true self is strong, when you start being so emotional, it bleeds into your ability to resolve conflict. It bleeds into your ability to focus, to use your inner eyes to see. The eyes that we have, that we see, perceive the world with, those are, this is for physical, material world. But the true humanity is inside us. It's within us. It is where you feel so connected to every other human being, whether they have a disability, whether they are very sick and they have a terminal illness, whether they are in a situation where it's so bad that you even don't want to be there yourself. But you have to be able to see yourself in that person. When you get to that place, then you will enjoy the peace, you will enjoy the serenity, you will enjoy the joy, and you will just enjoy experiencing humanity at the deepest level possible. So I think for today, I will leave it there. Next time, we'll continue with the same program. And we will talk about ways of how do you find your true self? What exercises do you do to just sit there and call yourself up? See if your soul, your spirit, if your energy shows up for you, not for other people, for you. How do you make that, bubble up and show up for you and just, drive you and animate you into somebody who is creative, who is loving, who is nurturing, who is not judgmental, and who just wants to enjoy the best life that is available in the moment that is available. Because we are just, our lives are so short and they are so brief that, it is not even necessary to waste so much of our time living in fear, living in worry, living in, these are the feelings that create anxiety and don't give us any comfort. So we have to be able to talk to ourselves and convince ourselves that, you know what, everything shall be okay. Everything shall be okay. We don't have to expect people to be telling us all the time, oh, Natasha, everything is going to go okay. You have to be able to come to that place where you tell yourself the same thing. You believe the universe knows you're here. It knows your name. He knows what you're going through, and he will provide the answers. He will bring the right friends into your life. A lot of us realized when we're in a crisis that all the friends that were in your life, they were just temporary. Because what happens is true friendship, a friend who is truly your friend, shows up in your most difficult time. A friend who is truly caring about you will show up in that time that everybody else is heading in the direction or running away because they don't want to be involved. They don't want to be part of the program. So once you know that and you develop the confidence to be able to live your life and experience it, you can have it one friend or two good friends is good enough. You don't have to carry the whole world on your back. I have 16 friends. I have this, like going into a party and making sure so many people attended your party. That is for your self-esteem to come up. You don't have to have 100 people liking you. The first person who needs to like you, like yourself first. Fall in love with you. Fall in love with who you are first. That way you will attract people of the same caliber into your life. You will attract people who are positive, people who will build you up, people who are not there to judge you, and people who will always tell you the truth no matter what. And you don't have to feel bad because they tell you the truth because they want you to live in your truth. And if there's anything you can improve or change in your life, there is nothing as rewarding as a friend who cares about you to an extent where they will tell you the truth. They will say, Natasha, this, I know you like it, but I don't think it's a good idea. Instead of getting upset or just feeling bad that somebody is judging you, you have to reflect on what that person said. And you will see that in that person's conversation, in that person's words, whether it's writing or spoken, it is done with love. It is done with love because that person wants you to have a beautiful experience. And a beautiful experience can only be enjoyed when you're living in the truth, not when you're living a lie, not when you're fantasizing and living in a world where it's not real. You have to come back to reality, come down to the real world and say, this is it. I'm going to face it. And whatever it is that is in store for me, I know that my creator will carry me through. And I know this shall be okay. So thank you so much, GSM viewers, for joining us this Friday. Join us again next week, Friday, for the same program, Soul Diving with Natasha Kania. Thank you very much and have a nice weekend.